All right, we are joined now by Ian Joy, soccer analyst for CBS Sports. And Ian, I kind of want to start off with this. We have a very good, I don't even want to say problem. We have a very good situation right now in the States where, because the World Cup has garnered so much attention right now, people are actually going to be watching the Champions League final for the very first time. At the same breath, they may not have known all the context that's been going on throughout these last few months. So for all the new fans out there, what can they expect from this matchup of Arsenal and PSG?
Yeah, great question. Thanks for having me on as well. Listen, this is going to be one of those finals you simply do not want to miss. It's been an epic journey for both sides. One has an amazing defense, one has an amazing offense. And what Arsenal have managed to achieve in the English Premier League has been really spectacular. Clean sheets, set pieces, of course, corner kicks and free kicks. That's where they're getting their goals. And then you've got the opposition in Paris Saint-Germain, who are already European champions, trying to go back to back under a manager in Luis Enrique that has just got them playing such fine football. So the soccer is fluent. They've got great energy, great pace, and they score a ton of goals. So if you're looking for best offense against best defense, look no further. Champions League Finals got you covered.
Yeah, I want you to dive deeper on that matchup because, as the old saying in boxing goes, styles make fights, right? You got Mikel Arteta's defense versus Luis Enrique's attack. Who do you think has the edge there? Because it's probably going to be a back and forth heavyweight battle.
Yeah, I always lean towards defense, being a former defender myself, and that's inevitably going to be my answer. But at the same time, it is hard to look past how dangerous Paris Saint-Germain have been. They have emphatic players, right? World-class players. And of course, they've become a better team. At one point, it was a team full of egos. You had at one point Neymar, Messi, and of course, as we forget, Kylian Mbappe, who recently departed to try and win that trophy. And now all of a sudden, they're a better team without those superstars. Luis Enrique has created something unique and special, and they score goals, right? 44 goals this season in the Champions League. It's truly spectacular. So there is an emphasis to believe that this could be a high-scoring game, but you're going up against that Arsenal side that under Arteta has been so dominant defensively. That's why they got to a final. That's why they're Premier League champions. It's been built around success defensively. 9 clean sheets in the Champions League, only conceding 6 goals is ridiculous. So I have no idea what's going to give in this final, because in one way I want to be entertained, I want to see the goals, but being a former defender, I kind of love seeing those clean sheets and defensive abilities as well.
There we go. Now, I kind of want to talk about the injuries on both sides here because there's significant injuries on both teams. First, I want to start off with the one that might be a little bit of nothing, but it's a calf injury, so it could be a little bit of an ebb and flow thing. It's Dembele, right?
Yep.
He says that he's 100%. He says that he's going to be able to play, but as you know, PSG's bread and butter is that high press, that visceral press right off the bat. Are we going to see Dembele kind of be a little bit more reserved, or are you expecting the same guy that won the Ballon d'Or?
Listen, it's a great catch because, as you know, those speedsters, you got to be very careful, right? With calf injuries, hamstring injuries, any type of muscle tear injuries, you have to be incredibly careful. You pointed out perfectly well. They are high pressure. They want to push the defense as high as possible, win the ball in midfield, and then they go. But let's not forget the counterattack. When they do go, they go at pace. They go with ferocity. So you need to have the ability to be able to break out of the gates very sharp, and Dembele is one of the best at doing that in the world's game. And let's not forget there's something called the World Cup that's right around the corner that I'm sure he's got one eye on at this moment in time. But I do think this is one of the most important games in club history. So yeah, I think we see Dembele start this game, and I think you'll see full throttle. I think PSG have managed the minutes incredibly. What they've gone through last season, European champions, getting to a FIFA Club World Cup final in the United States of America. They lost in that final to Chelsea, but then repeating a Champions League would be something so special and creating history that so few have ever done. So I think PSG have Dembele out there. I think they have Hakimi, the other one who's been questionable, out there as well, and they go with their best 11.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to also talk about, right? Because both teams are dealing with issues with that right back role. Hakimi, it's a little bit more complicated than Dembele, right? Best case scenario, he's not going to be 100% in this game. Do you see Hakimi play? And if so, what's going to be his impact, knowing that PSG actually do have quite a good contingency plan if he is out?
Yeah, great point. Again, I mean, Warren Zaire Emery, the youngster, stepped in and has done every single time when he called upon. He gets to play, he shines, and he shone brightly in that fullback position multiple times for Paris Saint-Germain this past campaign. He started many games domestically for them in that position, and it gave Hakimi somewhat of a rest. but Hakimi is an absolute horse and he wants to go every single time he gets the opportunity. He wants to compete in the big event. And of course, his Morocco will be competing in the World Cup this summer as well. So he wants to be healthy, recognizing that you don't want to get injured in this final. But I don't think these guys think like that, right? I think we can all put ourselves into those prime positions when the big stage comes calling and your chance is there. You want to grab it with both hands and they don't want to let it slip. So Hakimi, I would imagine, will be ready to rock and roll as well. And if he's not, they do have that backup plan because Zaire Emery's been spectacular as well in right full back position.
Now, on the other side, you have Arsenal's right back situation, which I do not envy because on the other side, you have Kvaratskhelia. He's going to be going back and forth with whoever's going to be at right back. You've seen Mascara in that role. You've also seen Zubimendi in that role. Where do you think Arsenal should go in terms of being able to establish a defensive presence in that right side?
Yeah, the right side always will be a question who starts in that role. Honestly, I couldn't even tell you who I think is going to start in that position right now because I think it's going to be a last-minute decision for Arteta to make. And let's not forget, right, we have seen Arteta make the decision to go with 4 centre-backs along that back line. But as you pointed out, PSG have pace. They've got a great deal of skill with Kvaratskhelia coming up against you, Desiree Doué coming up against you, Dembele coming up against you. The names go on and on. You got to be at your best. So I do think that we see a little bit of pace along that back line as well. I don't think you're going to see a midfielder slot into that position. There might be a centre-back move into that right full-back position, but I do think that Arsenal will be well prepared for this game. And first and foremost, you got to get the ball from Arsenal to have any chance of beating them. And right now, they're dominating in possession, and they know exactly how to control a game, and they obviously have confidence flowing through those veins right now as well.
This is not necessarily a tactics question I got for you. This is more of a mentality question. Do you feel like most, if not all, the pressure is on PSG, knowing that the Premier League title monkey is off Arsenal's back at this point?
It's a great point and such an important point to make going into a final, right? Where are the wins and losses coming from? Where do you see your advantage coming from? Paris Saint-Germain are a unique team in themselves, obviously European champions and, of course, domestically doing their business again. I think Arsenal will expect to be favourite going into this game in their own mental. I think that Arsenal believe now they've won that Premier League title. There's not as much pressure on Arteta. There's not as much pressure on this group of players to go and get a double this season. Winning a domestic trophy and winning a double with it being a European trophy is so rare in the world's game that Arsenal will go and enjoy the game. They'll enjoy the occasion. Let's not forget what Arsenal do going forward as well. I'm not quite sure who's going to start up front. Will it be Kai Havertz who scores the goals? Will it be Gyökeres who starts? I mean, I have no idea who's going to play out wide for them. Will we see Saka play there? Will we see Martinelli play there? We've got Madueke. We can go on and on. The stars are in abundance. But the actual difference between these two sides, obviously offense and defense, is not that great. So many out there would expect, okay, this is going to be a tight affair. But I think it will be won or lost by the moments of brilliance and the moments of quality. If you go back to last final, Paris Saint-Germain scored 5 goals against Inter Milan. And Inter, of course, coming from Italy, famous for defensive plays. Yeah, what are Arsenal famous for? Defensive plays. So I think Arsenal need to attack. And I would imagine that they'll go with offensive fullbacks rather than defensive fullbacks.
Just 2 more questions for you. Big picture here. If Arsenal pull off winning a double, where do you think this Arsenal team ranks all time in club history?
Whoa, wow. What an achievement it would be for Arsenal to win a double, right? And it's a domestic trophy and a European trophy. It's a Premier League title and a Champions League trophy. That is so spectacular, so rare. You just never see it, right? So I think Arsenal would be up there with the greatest of teams to ever have won it from English football in particular. I mean, obviously we have seen your Barcelonas, Real Madrids, Paris Saint-Germain's, Bayern Munich's who have won it previously also win their domestic title. But I think for English teams, it's very difficult to do because normally what you do is you focus on one or the other. You can't focus on the Premier League because then all of a sudden you take your attention away from the Champions League. And you can't just focus on the Champions League because all of a sudden you're out of the race for the Premier League. So to go and have the chance to win the double with it being the Premier League title and the European Champions League would be something so special. This would be up there with one of the greatest English teams in history and certainly one of the greatest Arsenal teams ever.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong here, but only Real Madrid in the Champions League era has defended that European title before whenever they won back to back to back. Should PSG get it done and win back to back, what do you think they rank all time?
Yeah, PSG are already creating their own dynasty, aren't they? I mean, what they've done domestically is quite spectacular. They are chasing something similar to what you just said, right? Real Madrid were the famous team to have been winning it successively. So I do think PSG are trying to recreate that. And with the team that they've got, the chemistry that they've got, and this manager, by the way, this Luis Enrique, he's in his own planet right now. Who makes the decision to kick out Kylian Mbappe, the best player in the world, in my opinion? Kick him out of your team to become a better team. He made that decision. So to me, this would be just so spectacular. Now, they have had, obviously, stars that we've mentioned previously in their ranks at times, and they've been under Qatari ownership for a period of time, so there's a lot of money behind this group. But sometimes it just goes to show you that money doesn't buy success. It's about making sure that you bring the team together, create some sort of team chemistry, team spirit, and try to be unbeatable. If PSG win it again this year, who's to say they're not going to win it next year? That's the domination I'm talking about.
Extremely unpredictable final we have in our hands. But if there's one thing we can both guarantee is that it's going to be an amazing game. Ian, I appreciate the time.
Thank you so much.